It's living that 4L80E hydromatic life. And then we got this bar up here. Oh man, hit the button. Let me turn it. Engage with teeth here, and so I can get the flywheels on and off, or flex plate rather. So these little guys are pretty handy. Okay, then we got flex plate out. And 4L80s usually, well, from my experience, have 6 bolts. And they got, like this one has this little spacer. Well, when it was new, I think it was 2 pieces. But, yeah, we're gonna take that and replace it with this. Now, I feel like this thing weighs a little bit more. This is their Circle D all billet flex plate. I don't know. I wish I had my damn scale working. I'm having a scale difficulty at the moment. Yeah, but anyway, the converter is only 10-inch and it weighs a considerable amount less than the old one. Okay, while we're under the car here, man, I know my head's all hella big right there. Okay, so you going from the stock one that we saw had that thick spacer on it to this new billet flex plate. And one thing to note is the screws are different lengths. Let me set them side by side and keep making this a difficult video to film. Oh yeah. See that? Yeah. This one don't have no shoulder on it. Jeez, Bear. And this one has shoulder on it. And obviously the length overall. But you will know right away when you try to put the other ones in and they bottom out and you're like, I don't remember them doing that before. What do you say we stab this thing? I mean, it is, I don't think a stabbing wagon is the thing. It's more of the stabbing cabin. Yeah, why don't you come under the car? Get this man a haircut. This will be fun, right? I mean, that other one was a beast. This one should just go right on. Right? Alright, let's make some room here. Let's get this, yeah. Oh yeah, can you see that? Oh yeah. Alright, so we got the tranny there. Oh, maybe. How about bring it back? Let's try this. Oh no, I did it again. Okay, here we go. Man, it's probably vertical video. If it is, my bad. Okay, we can see the shaft. All right. Well, here it goes. Got the old new converter here. Whew. It's heavier than it looks, but light, way lighter than the other one. No one, no damn hair in there either. Goddamn fabrics. Alright. Man. One-handed. Go gadget Circle D. Okay. Went on like a little zipper. What do you think? That good? I don't know if it's on all the way yet. But we'll jiggle it around a little bit. Ugh. Make sure she locks into place, because I don't think that's it. That's flush with the front. Yeah, we're gonna get closer to that. About to put the final torque on here, but I use this 125 thousandths dowel, ground dowel, to put between the it's what fit between this spacer and the torque converter, so that's what made up the space before I tightened it up. And they Circle D supplied that size of shim right there, and also a little bit thicker one. So yeah, it just needed a little tiny shim, or to keep it with that roughly 125. It says plus or minus 2.5, but I think it's just slightly more than that. I mean, unless you go and get some nice Blanchard ground shims or take your other shims and do them, like this should be, hopefully that's good enough. But that was with the torque converter pushed all the way back, and like the flex plate, you know, all obviously where it is, and then the whatever they call it, clearance, just use a 125 thousandths piece or anything that size. A bunch of feeler gauges probably. This is pretty nice, a drill bit I think they recommend, and that's one way to do it. So after we got the converter and stuff and warming it up, trying to fill it all the way up, and it's doing really cool already, so everything's good, no leaks. But the problem thing I did, well, I was working on that damper, and then for some reason anyway, I changed the throttle body out to this sniper one from the stock one being like 78 millimeter, this one being 90. I really don't like that bump, that bothers me. But I got that, and this is not permanent, this is just until the turbo goes in, and we're doing all that air density measuring, so we're gonna know, you know, just for fun, we're gonna see what this horrible setup is like, having this in the engine bay, you know. Anyway, but the deal is that I've been tuning that in, and I got it to start and run and pretty good, but it's so much more air is getting in the engine, like it's lean, it's a little bit lean now, and I don't want to go do a wide open throttle pulls yet. I couldn't get logged into my laptop because I forgot the password. It's been a while since I did tuning on this rig, and I was actually trying to open up the Holly on my buddy's wife's Nova, and I couldn't remember it then either. I was like, oh man. So I got a little technical difficulties because it's a borrowed laptop, so I got to figure that out. I'm hopefully going to get a laptop this year, and I'm just working on like no budget as far as that goes whatsoever. I mean, the converter was like $1,000, but you know, you got to have it. It makes everything work together. So anyway, I got to do a little bit of tuning before I can go do a rip. Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just really lean. So I need to correct that real quick, and that's all. As soon as I can get that done, then we'll get some rips on the street. And yeah, and this running on a stock GM computer. I don't think it's a 411. I think it's a different one, the 1 meg one. Anyway, that can run IAC and all that. I've been all through that rabbit hole. If we could talk about that later. Like, that was, and like that's like the fuse box for the high and low in the fan and the fuel pump or ignition or what. I don't even remember right at the moment. And I got it all wrote down though. I made my own wiring diagrams, and we got external map sensors for the bank stuff. And that one, and then we got map sensor for the 3-bar for the GM computer. We got the bank's data monster modules over there. I got another module to go in that'll pick up RPM, because honestly, if you're doing this engine stuff and you're not picking up RPM, I really wish I don't feel like it's that big of a deal to pick up RPM, but they put it in a $400 module, and I really feel like that should be a quintessential part of the original data monster. Is like whatever any module should be able to grab RPM. I mean, I know that's a little weird with VR signal conditioning and stuff like that, but I mean, if you've ever done Mega Squirt and stuff like that, the components are not that expensive. I just feel like RPM should just be in there, because without RPM as one of your primaries, the data kind of sucks. And it's CAN bus, and I was thinking of building a CAN bus to whatever OBD2 translator to maybe pick up a handful of signals. I don't know how hard that is. I haven't tried it. That's just last thing I need is another project, but it may end up doing it someday. And then I was saying, why would you do that on a stock GM computer? I don't know. I feel like it could be applied to lots of stuff. I used to work on Mitsubishis and stuff like that. And maybe that OBD1 stuff, I mean, that came over a serial line. Maybe that could be converted and then into, you know, run it through a quick program and have it output. And then you could run, you know, you could run the data monster on so many other things like older platforms, because, man, people love old cars, but the integration for that stuff is pretty, it's not tough. It's just, you know, it's nickel and dimes, you know. And then, you know, you could get a RPM signal damn near off of anything nowadays. So you almost don't even need the conditioning circuit. You just need the input for the RPM for the gauge. And other than that, it's a cool gauge. I'm actually getting rid of all my autometer gauges. And I put these stupid 3D printed ones in here. And, but I'm just going to have the fuel gauge and my voltmeter. I mean, the Banks gauge can do voltage, and I like having mile an hour and RPM. That's all good, but I mean, you know, with RPM, you can even use that as the shift light. It's going to be data logging, 5-volt input from my wideband, and it has everything in it that I like, and it's easy to use. So, yeah, I might make a new dash panel and just delete all the gauges except for this and those 4 across the top. So anyway, we're getting there. I do stuff and then I change it and then I try to refine it after I get a chance, after I have a decent idea about it. And like this guy over here is going to get revamped. This relay section, I mean, this is just a big breaker for the fan, you know. Stuff like that, like you're like, oh yeah, I could do that differently now and do it a little better. Mostly this is all for accessibility and troubleshooting, because I can reach all these fuses, I can see all these fuses, I could get these relays. This is the main fuse for the car, for inside the car. There's circuit breakers in the back, where the main power runs in and stuff like that, and there's a whole series of things in there. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things to upgrade on this motor, but as far as just being a stock bottom end LQ9, that's what we got, and it just has a lot of crap bolted to the outside of it, which hopefully, if it ever gives up the ghost, we just bolt all this crap to another motor and go, and then that little computer will be like, oh man, you just put in a stock computer with a stock file and it fires right up and away you go. Bob's your uncle. Yeah. Well, I can talk more about the car later, but this is mostly about the torque converter, stuff like that, and just kind of like, you know, changing stuff, making stuff work better. And got the converter in, got the flex plate in, everything's in there. Gonna get a drive shaft tube in this thing. I don't want a drive shaft coming through the floor. That's kind of why I bought the good flex plate. Keep your toes and keep everybody safe inside the car. And then we'll get it done. And we got it all in there. There's not even much to look at. Man, more pictures of ugly ass me. So anyway, that's what we're doing. I just watched that This Versus That the other day too, on a side note, and it had the big Mishimoto intercooler in it. So yeah, that's mine hiding behind there. This one was one of those open box Amazon deals, and so I had to get it because, I mean, it was as close as I was gonna get to this car, and it kind of goes with that. It's supposed to be more of a yellowy orange, but yeah.